tomorrow, so it's 45 minutes with no traffic to get her picked up. And I hadn't picked her up. I've just been running over there pulling her blood, trying to get out of the sun. It's always a beautiful drive to Springdale. I love that they've widened our road to 4 lanes. That's not why I decided to do a video, was to talk about our road. I was just going to update Caboodle's litter is finally stabilizing. So I had gotten them some raw goat's milk from someone I'd never gotten goat's milk from, and I'm not saying her milk was bad, but since Tuesday my puppies have blown into diarrhea. So when they have watery diarrhea, they blow it all over their siblings, and then everybody's sticky, and you get in there and clean them up, and if one puppy poops and it dries, then they're crusty, and anyway, it's not a good thing. So $100 worth of medicine later. We use a natural probiotic and a probiotic paste with them, trying to straighten this up instead of just hammering them with medication. And it just sometimes takes time, but in the meantime, you have to keep your puppies alive. A few of them felt so bad they didn't even want a nurse, so that's not good. It is a good hat day. Complete my thought. It is a good hat day because it's been 3 weeks since I colored my hair Monday. It's also time to do my nails. Not that I had ever before done my nails, but this year brought some good change. Oh, so I got to tell you what happened last night. So, my husband's only sibling, only brother's only daughter was in with her 2 children and husband, and we've just been having a wonderful time every time I can get away and go enjoy their company. And yesterday, the oldest girl came and rode Ace a little while. Part of her was very excited, and part of her was very apprehensive about being on an 900 pound horse. He's probably about 900 pounds. That's why I don't put beginners on Harley, is he's too tall. It's too scary. You're too far from the ground. And he is the tallest horse I have ever, for my own personal horse. I've owned tall horses, but he's too tall. I can't jump on him. That's how tall he is. I was jumping on Ace yesterday. He hadn't been jumped on in a long time bareback. He was like looking at me. So we decided just to order some pizza for supper last night for all the kids and everyone. And I did not ask Surrey. I just got on my server on my phone and said Pizza Hut, and it said call. So I called and I order a couple of large deep pan pizzas. Please don't feed me thin crust. It's like putting pizza topping on a piece of cardboard. Anyway, it's my opinion of thin crusted pizza. So my husband goes to Huntsville, which is about 7 minutes away. And it goes to the Pizza Hut, and the Pizza Hut says, "We don't have your order." And I said, "Yeah, I ordered it 20 minutes ago. It should be ready." So I look at my phone, and I was going to tell him the exact time I ordered it, and I see a Fayetteville phone number. So I had actually called Fayetteville, which is 30 minutes away, and ordered pizza. Yeah. So I called the Fayetteville store and asked them if they had done the order, and they said yes, it was ready. And they said, "But we can cancel it." And I said, "Well, that's not fair to you. I'm the one that ordered it." And he said, "Oh, thank you, ma'am." So Tim, my hero, drove all the way to Fayetteville last night, and so we started this at 4:48. It was after 7 by the time he drove to Fayetteville, got the pizza, and got back. It was just a few minutes after 7, but still, the kids were hungry and ready to eat at 5:30, 6 o'clock. So they got off to Houston this morning, and I've already heard from from the cradle to the grave, life. Life is a matter of choices. And I've heard this, and I do tend to agree with this. We are the sum total of the choices that we have made. So the statement, you're only as happy as you make up your mind to be. And I'm not saying tragic things don't happen. I have a good friend that lost his wife and then he only had 2 children, his oldest son, that got hit by a car and died instantly. And that was horrible. Our whole community grieved. And it was 3 years ago, October the 17th. Who could forget the date? It was very sad, beyond sad. How do you bury your son? But God gives us grace to embrace each season of our life. And as hard as that is, in life, we have to make up our mind whether we believe God is good, no matter the circumstances. God does not do evil. God does not kill people so he can have another angel in the choir. I think that's the stupidest statement I think I've ever heard. But God does give us grace, and oh, how we need that grace. We need that grace. We need that grace to make good choices and live this life. So it's just thinking about when I see people that are not making good choices, and I was just thinking about what I had said the other day about honor and dishonor. When I hear people calling other people profanity, and I'll use the abbreviation MF, I'm just horrified. I mean, who talks that way? Not to say I've never heard anybody talk that way. Or they use God's name in vain. They're disrespecting God, and ultimately they're disrespecting themselves. So, talking about that culture of dishonor, of not placing value on other people. And one of my life verses is about how we're to prefer others in front of ourselves. Philippians 2:4, if I got that right. Maybe 4:2. No, I think it's 2:4. Do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit, but consider others better than yourself. And so consider others. If you are considering someone else, you're certainly not expressing them using profanity or wishing evil upon them or saying evil things about them. So just my thought today, though, was about the choices that we make. We are the sum total of the choices that we make. I think about in Ezekiel 13 and Ezekiel 18. I know I always put Ezekiel 33 and Ezekiel 18, where God says, God takes no pleasure in the death of the wicked. Rather, he would that they choose life and live. And then it says, choose life and live. He gives us the answer, right? And so in every moment of our day, we can choose. We choose what we think about, what we entertain. In Psalms 19 it says, this is our verse for our church this year, may the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be pleasing and acceptable unto you, my rock and my redeemer. And I had learned that verse years ago because God had given it to me. The things that we choose to think about need to please God. So I went over 10 minutes. So the things that we choose to think about can please God. Our life is a choice. Our life is a choice. A choice. Are we going to choose to think about good things? Or are we going to listen to the enemy who's always accusing or always lying to us and telling us we don't deserve this or we deserve something better? Or I knew someone that every time any little thing did not go their way, the door didn't open correctly, the first thing they did was use God's name in vain. The trash was too full. The first thing they did was use God's name in vain. If they tripped, they used God's name in vain. What they don't realize is that they're cursing their own life. They're cursing their own life. And I'm not saying that profanity can be a habit, but it can also be a demonic spirit, and it's something that needs dealt with. on his earth. So how presumptuous of us to think that it's okay to curse God. It's not. And what you're doing is cursing your own life. So that was kind of my thought today. We are the sum total of the choices that we're choosing to make, and everything begins in our mind. I know Joyce Myers did this book called The Battlefield of the Mind, and it is all about what you're choosing to think about, because, when Jesus said, it's not what goes in your body. The scribes and the Pharisees were giving him a hard time that him and the disciples were eating and they hadn't washed their hands. He's like, it's not what goes into the body that defiles a man, it's what comes out that defiles a man. And he was talking about murderous thoughts and vicious words and attacking our brother and sister with our words. These things, anger, maliciousness, these things defile. Murders, these things are what defile us. So my thought today was, let us take control of our thoughts. In 2 Corinthians, I think this is 9:10, it says, bring every thought into captivity to Christ. Every thought. And this was interesting. I was talking to a young man that worked for me one time, and he was just, when I said that truth to him, you could bring every thought. I said, you don't have to think every thought that pops in your head. And he said, you don't? No, you don't. And if you love God and your name is written in the Lamb's Book of Life, and you are headed to heaven, then put your armor on every day. Put your helmet of salvation on so that the enemy can't get those thoughts in there. And ask for grace every day. First thing I do before my feet hit the floor is say, Lord, I ask for and receive grace for my day. It's the supernatural power that Jesus walked in, and we need that grace. And throughout my day, if I need more grace, I just ask for it. So that was my thought today. I see people's lives that are falling apart, and they wonder why. I can tell you why. It is the choices that we are making. In Romans 8, where it says, if you sow to the flesh, you're going to reap death. And if you sow to the Spirit, you're going to reap life. It's pretty simple. So it's our choices. It's our choices. It's our choices. That's why God made us choosing spirits. We are just supernatural spirits walking around having this physical experience, right? And we can choose to praise God with our thoughts, with our words, and then we will be putting action. Because Jesus said in, I think this was 12:36, Matthew 12:36, that we'll give an account for every word we speak. It's our words. It's our words. Our words trip us up. So let's be careful of our thoughts so that our words don't trip us up. All right, I've waxed long. It's 15 minutes. Bye now. Have a great 2 days after Thanksgiving. May our hearts be thankful and grateful to God.